Hello, this talk is on Generation Kill. What will happen when the forces who've come back from Iraq and Afghanistan who are scarred mentally uh, and are used to fighting in the streets will come back to the US particularly. I think this phenomenon is very acute in the US for a number of reasons which make it different from the British forces. Firstly, in the US, a lot of American soldiers are former gang members. Um, there are actually gangs in America that are sending um, their street soldiers off to join the army to get military experience. You're even having cops encountering these people in gunfights where the gang members are actually moving forward using military tactics. Now, what's going to happen when this kind of culture that's got into the American soldiers out there, which has some very strong points because they are very good fighters, comes back to American civilian field? You're going to have gang members, and then they will seem to be reformed, but they are still veterans. They still may have acute mental problems. Coming back, and then they're your policeman, then they're your security guard, then they're your private military contractor. All these problems are going to still be there. And the Western way of war, my other vid, which I've put up, I'm explaining how warfare will change. Well, you're seeing the rise of these private military companies, and maybe they will be used in the US as private police forces. Also, um, one of the one of the more pleasant parts of America is actually gated communities, and I've been to a few when I was on holiday, and they seem very pleasant places. But outside, they give you the impression that you're living in a fortress. Now, why are you living in a fortress? Because the rest of society perhaps is being left to degrade, and you're putting up higher and higher walls and more security to keep your small idols protected. It's kind of like looking at the landscape of Britain from the air and seeing these old Celtic Iron Age hill forts where the valleys and the river systems and everything else is sort of wild territory where there's these idols of calm in between, each one protected. Now, doesn't that show a breakdown of society? The veterans of warfare from Afghanistan will be coming back to Britain and getting state-funded care to help them through. It might not be fantastic, it might not be flawless, but at least they will get that. A lot of American soldiers won't get that. They'll be dumped back into society without a lot of help. Now, that's a big problem. And I just thought I'd let you know about this, and you can leave some points and comments down and get a discussion going. And so, what will we do about it? Well, I think America's going to have to accept something that it really doesn't want to do, and that is to have a national health service, because it's going to do the wars that it wants to do in Pakistan and Iran. It's going to have to reinstate the draft, and if you've got citizen soldiers again, you're going to need a citizens health service again, because a lot of those people won't be able to have health insurance because of the relative economic decline of the United States compared to the EU and other powers like China. This is going to be a big problem. And so you're going to have the socialisation of healthcare, which means that the actual quality of healthcare in America was probably going to fall away. There's a joke amongst Americans: if we have socialised healthcare, where will the Canadians get their healthcare? Because there won't be a surplus of healthcare. The problem is that the surplus of healthcare in the United States and veterans care is for only those people who can already afford healthcare and who don't need to have a surplus. They don't need it to be cheaper than their wealth requires. The big problem is for the people who can't afford healthcare, and that's going to be a critical issue, because people will only invest their time, their effort in the military system if they think that they're being appreciated, if they think their loyalty to the United States, to the Constitution and the flag for which it stands, is going to be honoured. If they're not, then they're going to fall back on other systems, like the gang system, where their loyalty is to the gang. No matter what uniform they wear, their loyalty is to the street gang from which they came. And you're seeing this more and more, that gang signs are even being written on tanks now, because those people know that when they leave the armed forces, although the government won't look after them, their gang brothers will. And that's what America faces. Do you want America to look like Mad Max? Then you must, the Mad Max's world of gangs, then you're going to have socialised healthcare. And I know it's not perfect, I know it doesn't work completely well for everyone, but that's what you're going to have, at least for the military. The military will probably have to have entitlements to socialised healthcare, even if it's not applied to the civilians. And that's the point of this video. And if you disagree, leave a comment. If you agree, support it, but get a discussion going. That's what I'm making these videos for. Peace.